Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Komorowski and this is my final presentation for Spanish 115, Section 10. The country I chose to speak about is El Salvador, formerly known as the Republic of El Salvador. It is bordered on the northwest by Guatemala and on the northeast by Honduras, and on the south by the Pacific Ocean. It is the smallest and most densely populated country in Central America. The capital of El Salvador is San Salvador, which is located in central El Salvador. This is also the largest city in this country, with a population of 525,990 people. San Salvador is the country's political, cultural, educational, and financial center. Another important city in this country is Sayapungo. It is located directly next to El Salvador, and it has a population of 329,708 people. So just a little historical background on El Salvador. It was first conquered by the Spanish Empire in the early 16th century. This incorporated it into the Viceroyalty of New Spain, which was ran out of Mexico City. Then, in 1821, it became a part of the Federal Republic of Central America. This consisted of the present-day countries of Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. Then, in 1839, it became its own sovereign state. And in 1841, they elected their first president, Juan Lindo, and he ran until 1842. A very important part of El Salvadorian history is the Salvadorian Civil War. This began October 15th, 1979, and it lasted until January 16th, 1992. The war was fought between the military-led Juanita government versus the Farabundo Marti National Liberation Front, otherwise known as the FMLN. The war began after promises made by the Juanita government to improve the living standards of people in this country were not met. Therefore, 5 main guerrilla groups were formed, and this eventually led to the formation of the FMLN. The U.S. played a very important role in this war by providing military aid and training to the El Salvadorian government. Eventually, the United Nations stepped in and began peace negotiations between the two groups in 1990. And on January 16th, 1992, a final agreement called the Chapultepec Final Agreement was signed by both parties in Mexico City, officially ending the war. This war lasted more than 12 years, and more than 75,000 lives were lost. This is a monument that they have in El Salvador, honoring the people who lost their lives in this civil war. A war that this reminds me of in the United States is the Civil War for a few reasons. The first reason being that it was 2 main parties fighting against each other. For El Salvador, it was the military-led Junta government versus the FMLN, and in the United States, it was the Confederate South versus the Union North. Another reason this reminds me of the U.S. Civil War is because both wars were very brutal and many, many lives were lost. A very important tradition in El Salvador is Holy Week or Semana Santa. Unlike the United States, where Easter is celebrated with bunnies and Easter egg hunts, in El Salvador, this week is a very religious holiday. It begins Ash Wednesday and it ends on Easter Sunday. This is a time for prayer and reflection, and it is also a time for families to come together and celebrate. The reason that this holiday is much more religious in this country is because 60% of people in El Salvador declare themselves Roman Catholics. A unique tradition El Salvador practices on this holiday is street carpets or alfombras. It is a time where different towns can put their best foot forward and make their most unique and beautiful street carpet. And these street carpets are used during the procession of the Holy Burial on Holy Friday. A popular type of dance in El Salvador is the cumbia. It is used at festivals and celebrations. It includes short sliding movements danced to the music of cumbia. It is similar to the salsa, and the music is made up of guitars, bass guitars, accordions, and percussion. Now I will show you a small example of the cumbia dance, along with some traditional cumbia music. So the dance is really easy to learn. The first step, you take your right leg, place it back, left leg stomp, back to center. And then you just repeat that on the other side. So left leg back, right foot stomp, back to center. And then once you get that down, you can add in some hand movements. So I'm assuming it kind of looks something like this. Something like that. A very important person that is from El Salvador and still lives there to this day is Alvaro Torres. He's the most influential songwriter and singer in his country. He was born April 9th in 1954, and he wrote his first song when he was just 12 years old. Some of his most famous songs include Azame Olvidaria and La Uncina. One of his greatest accomplishments was when he was selected to represent his country at the OTI Festival. This festival was a singing competition between many Latin countries. In conclusion, El Salvador is a vibrant and exciting country. The people are passionate and kind. This country has been through a lot recently. However, I do see a bright future for this country. Hola, me llamo Jamie Lee Kamarowski Turner. Yo tengo 22 años y yo nací en el 15 de septiembre de 1997. Yo soy de Nueva Jersey y yo vivo en Conway, South Carolina. Yo mido 1.7 metros y yo tengo pelo largo y café y ojos café. Yo soy simpática, cómica y divertida. En mi familia, yo tengo una madre se llama Tracy, un padre se llama Charlie, una hermana mejor se llama Kelsey y un hermano menor se llama CJ. También yo tengo un gato se llama Joey. En mi tiempo libre me gusta cocinar, hacer snowboard, tomar el sol en la playa y pasar rato con mis amigos. Típicamente, mi rutina de día comienza a las 9 en la mañana. Me despierto a las 9 de la mañana y me ducho y llevo mi pelo. Entonces me cepillo los dientes y maquillarse. Luego, a las 10 en la mañana, me desayunar y escuchar música. Después del desayuno, yo hace la tarea. Cuando termina mi tarea, yo corro y paso rato con mis amigos. Finalmente, yo cenarse a las 7 en la noche y me acosta a las 10 en la noche. Este es mi horario de clases para el semestre de primavera. En lunes, miércoles y viernes, mi primera clase es el Estudios Hispanos, de 10 a 10:50. Segunda, yo tengo la clase Jefe de Operaciones, de 12 a 12:50. Tercera, yo tengo la clase de Negocios, de 2 a 2:50. En martes y jueves, yo tengo mi primera clase, es Comunicación de Mercado, de 12:15 y 1:30. Y mi segunda clase es Gestión de Eventos, de 1:40 a 2:55. Este semestre, la clase de Estudios Hispanos me enseñó mucho sobre culturas diferentes y cómo hablar correctamente español. La clase es un poco difícil, pero me gusta la clase mucho. Gracias por escuchar y tengas un gran día.